All right, good morning, everybody. Coming off a great heavyweight fight last night, Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley, and most of the controversy before the fight was Frank Warren during that interview that he had, and the interviewer asked him about the fight being on pay per view, and people complaining about it, and then he had that infamous response where he said, "Well, if they don't like it, they don't have to pay for it," and that went viral on Twitter, and everyone was commenting on it and giving Frank a lot of stick. But now, forget about that. That controversy gets pushed aside, and now we have a new controversy, which was the ending of the fight. And you're hearing words like horrible, disgusting, uh, horrific, horrendous. People are on Twitter and they're being very hyperbolic in their characterization of this stoppage. If you want to call it questionable, if you have an argument one way or the other, but to just sit there and say that this was just a horrible stoppage, I don't agree with it. I don't really have a problem with the stoppage at all. People are saying, "Oh, Parker wasn't really hurt." Come on, man, he was hurt. Now, do you think the argument could be was he hurt to the extent that the fight should have been stopped? But that's not always the criteria or the requirement for stopping a fight. I mean, part of it is you have to be able to defend yourself. And if you're not punching back and there's a lot of unanswered blows, even if you're not terribly hurt, then oftentimes a referee will stop the fight and they'll tell the fighters before the fight even starts in the in the locker room instructions, hey, if I see you not punching back and not defending yourself, I'm going to stop this fight. So again, um, you can't just lay on the ropes and not throw punches back, right? So I don't have a problem with the stoppage. And here's the thing too, when you're watching the fight real time and the referee's seeing things unfold real time, they don't have the luxury of going back and looking at the replay. And if you're going back and looking at the replay and you're going to sit there slow motion, turn the sound off, play it in reverse, if you're going to go through all those mental gymnastics just to make a point, right? Then it becomes monotonous and ridiculous after a while. Because if you're looking at that in real time, I don't have a problem with stoppage, and you can even hear the announcers. Let's pull it up. Let's play it here, and let's kind of go through the whole sequence and talk about what happened here, right? Three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Those two little pushes. There's nothing on those shots. Another one right there. Boom. That one lands. That one lands. Now the last one didn't land too hard. You know what I'm saying? The last three punches didn't land. Two of those punches landed. And the second one before the final one, it jarred his head back a little bit. So again, like you had what, 27, 28 unanswered punches. And then when he does try to throw back, he has these two little push, get off me punches. There was nothing on those shots. His legs were pretty much gone. So, people saying the fight should have gone another 30 seconds or so. I don't know, man. I just think the end was near. I think it was inevitable that he was more than likely gonna. I think he was gonna get stopped regardless. That's just my opinion. You can argue maybe he wouldn't have, and people looking at, look what happened in the second round. Yeah, but he wasn't hurt to the same degree in this round here, 11, than he was in the second round. I don't even think it's close or comparable. And then people are like, "Oh, well, Wardley was going to punch himself out. Let's play it again." Like, I, I don't. I didn't. How do you know Wardley was going to punch himself? I didn't see any evidence there. And we see Wardley sometimes fight with his mouth open. Looks like he's ragged in there at points. Loses his shape a little bit, but he comes back. He fights gets his second win, fights in spurts sometimes, right? Let's look at it again. Let's play it over one more time. for people coming in here late. Let's take a look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. There's two goes on. Two little pushes. That lands. Okay? That lands. There's two. Again, he wasn't fighting back. So I just don't see. I can understand maybe question it a little bit. Oh, could it have gone? But this whole outcry of how this was horrible, it was a robbery, and Joseph Parker. I mean, he didn't really protest. He said he generally his protest, he didn't protest very strongly at the end of that. He kind of said what's going on here, but most fighters do that generally at the end of a stoppage. Like, what are you doing here? Even regardless if they're hurt or not. But then if you listen to him, post-fight press conference, post-fight interview, even Andy Lee, these guys are always outspoken if they think something's wrong. Like in the Dillian White fight, when he got headbutted in that second round, he complained about that even after the fight because he was winning that round. So you flip the 2 points to him and subtract a point from Dillian White, and that fight ends up being a majority draw. So I thought that was more of a bad call than this, right? Because he clearly went down in the second round from a headbutt. I mean, you can clearly see that. Even in real time, you could see it. So, but he didn't protest after at the post-fight press conference, post-fight interview. And again, if he really thought that this was as bad as everyone else is saying, like Lou DiBella, Ariel Helwani, oh, this is horrific, this is horrible. Now Lou DiBella is backtracking a little bit because he's hearing other people, is trying to appeal to authority a little bit because it's kind of 50-50 on this, maybe 60-40 the other way. But as time goes on and the more people go back and look and see how many unanswered punches that Wardley was throwing, and everyone's like, oh, well, he was slipping these shots, and I mean, come on, they were landing. And when you're hurt that much, right? One more time, let's look at it. When you're hurt that much, even the little shots that aren't landing really, really flush, they take their toll on you. Let's look at it one more time. Let's look at this. Right? So he's got his head down. He's not even really he can't even hold his hands up really. He pulls them up briefly, but he can't keep his hands up because he's so hurt. He can't keep his hands up. He's just bending over at the waist because he can't really slip and defend himself. He's not even slip the punches. He's just bending over at the waist. He's laying up against the ropes. And then he throws a two little push punches that have zero on them. Look at him. He's stumbling. And he's just standing there. He can't slip and move his head and carry shots. He wasn't able to intelligently defend himself. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I don't think this controversy is warranted here. I know the referee has a history, right? He has a history of controversial stoppages, but in this case, I just don't think that it was that controversial. I just don't think it was that controversial. I really don't. Howard Foster's got a reputation. I get it. Has he stopped fights too early in the past? Sure. One of the worst. I think the worst stoppage I've ever seen was that George Groves Kyle Froch first fight, and even both fighters admit, yeah, that was not a good stoppage, right? But in this case, I just don't think that this was a horrible stoppage. I don't see where all the outcry is from. I just disagree with it. It's just my opinion. But we'll see. I like what I heard from Wardley after the fight. He called out Usyk, says he wants that fight next. I don't hate that fight. Do I think he's going to win? I would pick Usyk in that fight, but hey, who knows, right? Anything can happen. Usyk's definitely the prohibitive favorite, but Wardley, he's dangerous, right? We saw what Dubois did when Dubois landed that shot, and Wardley can go to the body too. He was landing some good body shots early on Parker, which I think started to wear Parker down. And you can see in that last sequence, he landed a good body shot that kind of made Parker suck wind a little bit there. So, Wardley's a young guy in his prime. He can punch a bit. He's got a good engine. Sometimes he looks like he's fading, but he ends up getting his second win, and he's able to pull himself back together. He can be behind in fights. He was behind in this fight. I had him behind nine. That's another thing. Like you have people like Ariel Hawani saying that he was way behind and he was down by 6 points and this. I mean, I had it 96-94 as one of the judges did. Another judge had it even, and then one judge had it 98-92, which I thought was a bit wide. But this he would have won that round, and you know, I just don't think Parker would have finished that round. So obviously I think Parker was winning, but you could clearly see the fight turned at that point in round 11, and he was on the verge of getting stopped regardless. There was no way. I don't believe he was going to fight his way out of that. I don't think it was the same situation, like I said before, as the one we saw in the second round. He was hurt. I thought his legs were going. And yeah, I thought he was on his way out. I thought he was on his way out. So we'll see what happens next. I think the Usyk fight will happen. Let's see what Usyk wants to do, right? Because maybe Usyk, after this has to be a big fight, right? This has to be a big fight. I don't think there's a bigger fight now out there for Usyk, really, because he already fought Fury twice, fought Joshua twice. There's really nowhere else Usyk can go if he decides he's going to stick around. He already fought Dubois twice. Unless you want to have him fight Ajit Caballel, which I think is a great fight, but is it going to be as big as a fight like this? Right? I know Wardley said after the fight he wanted to do it like overseas, like in Saudi or something, just for a different experience. But it's hard for me to believe that this fight won't be in the UK based off of what we saw there. That was a really good crowd, right? The crowd was behind Wardley. They were cheering, singing his name throughout the fight. They were getting behind him. Everything he did, they were ecstatic about it. So I think this is a monster fight. I think you could do Usyk versus Wardley in Wembley. Excuse me. I think you can do it in Wembley. I think you can do it in Wembley Arena. I think you can do it. I think it would be a monster fight. You know, I'm just curious to see where Usyk's head's at now. I know this guy is a diligent trainer, takes care of himself, but he's done it all. At what point does that fire does that fire just go away? That's the question you have to ask yourself. At what point does that fire go away? And obviously Wardley's hungry, but it's hard to go against Usyk in this fight in the fight with Wardley. I don't think Wardley will win the fight. I'm going to pick Usyk in the fight, and probably would. I'm going to go with Usyk by stoppage. I'm going to go Usyk by stoppage against Wardley. I just think he's that good. But again, 38 years old, going on 39. Will there ever be a time where there's just father time catches up with him? That's the big question that all of us are asking right now. But until we see it, we have to assume that it hasn't, right? We have to assume that it hasn't until we see it. Well, that's pretty much all I got, man. I mean, there's really not much else to talk about. I don't think the undercard was spectacular. It was okay. I don't think it was a spectacular undercard. Um, I still, regardless of the main event, I still don't think that was a pay per view fight, in my opinion. Obviously, the result and the fight itself was a great fight, but if you want to come on, Hamid, I'll stay on for a little bit longer. I want to hear your opinion on it because I know you have your own opinion on it, a little bit different than mine. But yeah, I'll stay on for a little a little longer if you want to come on. Just let me know how long it's going to be for you to come on. But yeah, yeah. I just I still don't think it was a pay per view fight. I know a lot of people probably didn't buy it, but I know a lot of people went back and watched it. So yeah, I dropped a link for you, so you can come on in 2 minutes. We'll chop it up a little bit more about it. But yeah, I um I still don't think it was a pay per view fight. And judging by the reaction on Twitter, people were saying that they weren't going to buy it. So I suspect, even though this fight was a great fight, that a lot of people illegally streamed it. But because it was such a great fight, and because the outcome was had a lot of drama to it, because there was you know the controversy at the end, people will probably want to see it again, regardless of the result of Wardley versus Usyk. Win, lose, or draw, I don't see a problem with Wardley going back out and fighting Parker. If Parker can get another win under his belt, right? Regardless of the outcome, if Wardley wins or not against Usyk, if that happens next, regardless of that, I still think him versus Parker in a rematch. I think because of how great this fight was, how entertaining this fight was, you can argue this could be possibly a fight of the year contender, right? You have the Chris Eubank Conor Benn fight from back in April. That's definitely a contender. I think this can go right up there alongside it, in my opinion. You had a close competitive fight. At least that's what I believed, and the judges kind of reflected that. You know, except for that 98 92 scorecard, but the one judge had it even, one judge had it 96, 94 like me. So it was a close fight, competitive fight, had its ebbs and flows to it. I think most people, regardless of what they thought of the stoppage, they enjoyed the fight up until that point. So why not do it again? Why not do it again? And I thought it was kind of cool how all the heavyweights were there. You could say what you want. Eddie Hearn can say what he wants, but Frank Warren definitely has that heavyweight division on lock right now, right? And Frank just puts his head down. He's not out there, you know, talking about other things and worrying about jumping in front of the camera and being the star of the show. He just puts his head down and just puts out these cards. Now I'm not happy about how a lot of his cards have been on pay per view lately, but this was still a good. It still was a good fight, even though I don't think it was pay per view worthy. Doesn't mean it wasn't a good fight, you know. But again, regardless if people bought it or not, I still think a lot of people watched it, and because of that, I think these guys will. The people that watched it will go and probably buy a pay per view if they end up doing the Usyk fight. What's going on, Hamid? Let me see.
Yes, Beeb, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, you sound loud and clear.
All
Yeah.
right, how's it going?
Good,
I
man.
didn't listen to because I just jumped on. Well, what did you think about the stoppage and the
Well,
actual fight?
let's pull it back up again, right? And we'll go through it, and I'll walk you through it, and let's just
Yeah,
kind of
go on.
because again we looked at it in real time, and when you're looking at it real time, and this is going to be real time. There's no slow motion because people go back and look at it in slow motion, and then they try to go through all the mental gymnastics to try to come up with a reasoning to change their minds. But let's go. Let's take a look at it. Right? One,
He
two,
swings a left hand, the wall is all over him. Parker's in danger of being stopped here. Will the 11th round?
14,
It's all Fabio
15, 16,
Wardley.
17,
This is the opportunity
18, 19,
of his
20,
life. He's got
21,
He's got grab
22,
on Fabio Wardley. Wardley's going to slow
23,
down here.
24,
Take a
25,
shot. You've got to go
26,
here.
27, 28, 29,
Howard
30.
Foss is going to step in
Two
any
little
second.
pushes.
He gets one hook
That
off.
punch lands.
But Wardley now.
That punch lands. That punch lands. That punch lands. Now the last punch wasn't hard. Now he's not defending himself, Hamid,
He's not defending himself or protecting himself. Like
or
you know,
protecting himself. Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
he's bending. When you see a guy bend over like this, That means
Yeah, yeah.
he can't.
His body language was different to when Wardley was getting hit. When Wardley got hit, he would either clinch or react and punch and hurt Parker back. To me, I thought Parker was winning as well, same as you, but it was a very close fight after round
Close,
10.
right?
And after round 10, I think they tied a chain because Parker threw everything at him. But to me, I don't understand why people acted like this is one of the worst stoppages when
Yeah, and then
for 2 rounds, Parker took a lot of punishment. Like he didn't really, like you said, protect himself or defend himself. Like he wasn't holding, he wasn't clinching, he wasn't really even punching, like you just showed for I think about 30 seconds or something. And his body language to me showed like he was about to get knocked out. I personally think he should have just let it go on for a bit longer because of how big the fight was in terms of like the winner gets a world title shot. But to me, the writing was on the wall, if you understand what I'm saying.
yeah, but I mean, I'm hearing people say, "Oh, I would have liked to see 30 more seconds," but
Nah, nah, he could have got seriously hurt.
I
And
just
then,
don't.
yeah,
I just don't think the outcome was really in question. I just don't. I
oh,
just don't.
yeah, I
That's just my
agree.
opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you because to me, Wardley had hurt him, and for 2 rounds, it seemed like Parker was kind of gassed out as well. He was more visibly hurt. Where Wardley, every time Wardley was getting hurt, he would answer and he would actually land very good.
Wardley, the problem with Wardley is, I'm not saying he doesn't get tired in fights. I'm not saying something, but he looked a lot more poised in this fight than I've ever seen him. You know, he was boxing a little bit. He was mixing in a lot of that aggressive stuff. And the thing about Wardley too is sometimes he throws those wide looping wild shots similar to Deontay Wilder, but he always tends to mix in a short, crisp, clean, straight.
He's much
Yeah,
more
he
nuanced than Wilder, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. So and then people like, oh, he was punching himself up. But if you go back and you look at the sequence, he's not loading up with every shot when he's throwing those punches. He kind of settled himself down a little bit, and he was taking a little bit off of some of them, and every now and then he would mix in a hard one. So there's a method to this guy's madness, in my opinion. I just don't think he's this caveman that everyone's saying. Now,
I don't understand where I agree with what everything you said, but I don't understand where this notion of he was punching himself out came from. For 10 rounds, he managed to keep finding a
yeah,
second with the guy to me who punched himself out was Joseph Parker. Like I don't know, maybe someone
those
was saying a
body
lot of
shots
these.
were slowing him down, Hamid. They were
Yeah,
taking his legs out.
but someone made a good point. Was it Highfield Boxer? He said a lot of these people had money on Parker, or they all picked Parker. To
I
me,
picked Parker too.
I thought it was a 50-50 fight in terms of styles. On paper, I did
I
say
didn't.
Parker. I always thought Parker's recent opponents were being way overrated because if you look at it, Wilder I thought was shot. Yeah, it was a good performance from Parker. He did what he had to do, but Wilder to me after that third Fury fight should have really retired. All he's done is I think knocked out Helenius in 1 round. He's lost his other fights, so not look great. And then Bacoli was a last minute replacement. Parker did what he had to do, but Bacoli was way out of shape. He didn't really, I think, sleep for 2-3 days. That's on his own team for accepting the fight. But the only guy I thought that was a credible win
Zang.
was Zhang, and even that fight was actually close. I did pick Parker to win that, and I had him edging it, but I could see an argument for a draw because I think it was
Yeah.
2 knockdowns, and if you give Parker 7 rounds, that means it's a draw.
Yeah. I think I had it 9, either 8-4 for Parker or 9-3.
I could see something like that, but I could also understand when I was watching it live, it could have been a draw. I haven't rewatched it, but that was his only, I thought, win that was like a win to merit you as a top five heavyweight. And
Yeah.
he didn't do what Caballel did. What Caballel did, I know Caballel got dropped in one of the rounds. Caballel dominated Zhang in every other round. I know styles make fights, but to me, a lot of his recent wins, like especially the Martin Bakuli and Wilder fight a couple of years ago, the Wilder fight also, he was getting a bit overrated. I just don't see this guy, and I was even saying, even if he had won, troubling Usyk. Like, to me, Usyk would have, I'm not saying
Listen,
only,
I like Parker too, but let's keep in mind he did lose to Dillian White.
yeah, yeah.
I thought one of those fights with Chisora, I thought he lost the first fight with Chisora. He got it. edged out a
That
decision.
was close because of the knockdown, did he? Yeah. What about the Huey Fury fight? That could have easily. I don't think because of the way Huey Fury fought deserved to win, but that could have
Yeah,
easily been a draw. Like that was,
yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah.
close as well.
Then the Joe we have the Joe Joyce fight out there.
Yeah,
Respect.
he got dismantled by Joyce.
Yeah.
Like I give him credit for coming back and fighting all these guys, but to me, some people were going overboard. Like to me, I don't think he was a definitive number two. What was it number two heavyweight
No,
behind
because
Usyk?
let me just read this real quick. Respect. Thank you, Bang Mateo. So respect to Fabio for a man with no amateur background. Yeah. Here's the thing, man. This is my opinion. I don't know if you agree or not, but everyone was talking about how he deserved a shot at Usyk, but I would have much rather have seen Ajit Kabayel. I think style wise, that presents a bigger challenge for Usyk than Parker. I don't think Parker matches up well
I agree. That's why I
with
said to
Usyk.
remember you and Eric after Dubois got knocked out. I would like to see Dubois and Parker still fight. I'm not sure if Parker wins that.
Yeah, yeah,
What do you
and
reckon though? Do you reckon Dubois can knock him out? Because a lot of people are saying Dubois not only faked the injury, they were saying he ducked him. Like, I don't believe that, but because he ended up fighting Usyk. But
yeah.
based on that performance, if Wardley could do that, I think Dubois has a serious chance of also knocking him out.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of think that the team didn't want Dubois to fight Parker. I think they wanted to wait for Usyk, and because Usyk was the immediate fight
Yeah,
after the pullout. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm not going to die on that hill. But I think that they kind of pulled out of that fight because they didn't want to risk the fight with Usyk being not getting the fight with Usyk.
you could argue Turkey, they all were trying to
That's
what's
what
the
I'm saying.
word?
I think it was a collaborative
Yeah, yeah. You because
type of plan.
Usyk himself said he was injured like recently, and then the WBO gave him extension. So maybe because of the money in the fight, like they all, like you said, there's a collaborative like attempt to try to freeze out Parker, but at the same time, I don't think Parker. Like the way people are acting, like, I don't think he would have done to Dubois what Usyk did. Like to me, I think on any given night, any of these top 10, 15 guys could all beat each other outside Usyk.
I'll
Maybe
I'll tell you right now.
Caballero as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. If you were to ask me who I would pick against Dubois versus Parker, um, before I was picking Parker. Now I'm picking Dubois.
Yeah, he even if he had won that fight, he did not look great. Like to me, I
Yeah,
thought it was a close fight. Like I had a 6-4. You can
that's
maybe
what I had.
argue
That's what I
You
had.
can maybe argue level because some people did see that that could have been even.
Sure.
I just thought Parker did the more consistent work after round four up until I think round nine. The only round I gave him from those stretches to Wardley was round eight. But like to me, Dubois is just gonna come in full steam ahead. He's not gonna, he's not gonna backpedal or anything like that or
Yeah.
take a second wind. And I don't know, does Parker even have enough power to keep him off? Like I would like to see that fight because I think Dubois has got to, show he still could do something against the top guys because of how one-sided the Usyk fight was, and some people are saying AJ was washed. I don't believe that, but here's another thing. I thought Dubois' recent wins were more impressive than Parker's wins. Do you agree? Because I thought
Yeah.
they
I
were
do.
getting, yeah,
I do.
I thought he
Yeah.
was getting undervalued.
I think that Joshua. Here's the thing: people can say whatever they want about Joshua, but Joshua lost almost every minute of every round in that fight, with the exception of that one big right hand that he landed. I've never seen Joshua dominate he was Dubois dominated him worse than Usyk did in the first fight.
And Andy Ruiz in it because
Yeah,
the Ruiz fight, Ruiz did get dropped, but to me, Dubois was a big underdog against
yeah, and
AJ.
he was just. I don't think I didn't give AJ a round in that fight. Not one.
Was Parker even an underdog in any of these fights? They were good wins on paper, but like to me, like I think some people are going way over the
No,
top.
he was
Like
an underdog versus Zhang versus Wilder. Like a lot,
I picked him to beat Zhang, and I thought Bakoli, because he was a last minute replacement, I did not agree with. Some people are saying Bakoli Parker was a better fight than Parker and Dubois. I don't know what they saw. Some of these people have actually
yeah.
been watching boxing a long time. Like to me, Bakoli was a last minute replacement, and his whole mantra was predicated on one win against Jared Anderson. Like I don't get me wrong, I don't mind seeing Bakoli fight not Parker, sorry, Bakoli fight Dubois or Dubois fight Parker. Like these guys all fight each other, but like sometimes I think some people get a bit over like excited. Like same as this fight. I haven't seen anyone, but I wouldn't give Woodley much of a chance against Usyk.
Yeah, I don't
Like
think
I,
he's going to beat Usyk either.
yeah,
I don't
I
think he's
don't
going to beat
think he
Usyk.
does, but he's in the shot. Like he's in the right
Yeah, let
place.
him
Like
give him the fight. I would, like I said, I would rather see Kabayal fight Usyk
yeah,
just
that's the only guy. Yeah, that's the only guy that could
from a
actually.
stylistic standpoint. I
Yeah.
think Kabayal has a better shot. But
Do you reckon Atama? Do you reckon Atama has like the next best chance, or do you reckon it's Kabayal and then is a big gulf in
I would
glass?
love to see Otamu fight somebody like Daniel Dubois. I would love that fight. I would love that fight.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's
Him
going
and
to
Dubois
happen.
were sizing each other up backstage.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be a good fight, but I don't know if
You may see that next. You may see that next. I'm not sure, but you could see that next.
I would wait for that fight because I think Dubois still got something left, and I think Itama they need to put him in against someone a bit like if you get understand what I'm saying, someone a bit ranked a bit lower. Like I think if you chuck him in with Thing, then you may as well take him the fight
Yeah,
with was it Frank Sanchez? But
yeah.
do you reckon Itama could could beat guys like Joseph Parker and Wardley?
He has a shot. Yeah, he
You
has a
reckon
shot.
even
He
now,
has a
like
shot.
do you, yeah, because
Yeah,
I was.
right now he has a shot.
Yeah, because I was
I
thinking,
wouldn't be surprised. This is. I'm going to give you a schedule right now that I think
go
may transpire. I think Caballal will probably fight Dubois, and I wouldn't be surprised if Atamu fought someone like Bacoli next. That's what I think. And then and who
that's a
else is?
dangerous fight, didn't
Yeah,
he?
and then you have Lawrence Okoli. Who's he going to fight next? He could even fight Caballal next, but I don't think that may happen, but I don't think so.
Now, Cabal's going to Germany to fight in January.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I was gonna say I would not mind seeing
He may get
like
Bacoli next. He could get Bacoli too.
that would be a good fight. I wouldn't mind seeing like
Yeah.
like Usyk just fight once or twice and retiring because I think the whole division is so open. But Usyk said he's fighting for a couple more years. Like the only guy I think that could beat him is Caballal at the moment, unless
If
Itama
Usyk
shows.
fights till he's 41, right? Because
Yeah,
how
then
old is
he
he now?
yeah.
Right now, what's he?
He's
39.
38. He's going to be 39 in January,
So
which
30. If he's
is, yeah.
39 in January, right? So that means he'll have. If he fights till he's 41, that means he's gonna have 5 more fights. I don't know, man.
I don't think that's a good idea. I personally would have, if I was advising him, like I know Alex Krasik is no longer there, I would have like said try and retire at the age of 40 or just before you turn 40. So
Well,
one or two more fights would have been because I don't see what he's got left to prove. Like
it,
what about Jayo Pataya? That's a guy I wouldn't mind seeing Fabio Wardley fight, but I
that's
don't know if
another
that
guy too. That's another one too. Yeah.
that'd be a good fight.
But if you look at Usyk's career, like the last 5 or 6 years of it, there was a stretch when he was only fighting once a year, anyways. So if he decides I'm only going to fight once a year, then he probably could stretch it out to 41. But I don't even know if that's even.
Usyk has only fought in a calendar year twice. Was last year with the Fury
Yeah,
fights.
yeah.
That's I think the first time since
Yeah,
20.
let me pull up his people because everyone kept making fun of Fury, saying he was inactive.
No,
And
no. People keep holding Terence Crawford like his inactivity to pound for pound.
yeah,
But I said this: Crawford and Usyk are both as inactive as each other. I think Crawford fought twice in 2019 when he beat
let me
Khan and
pull up the box score here.
Kavalasquez.
So let's take a look.
Usyk fought twice last year. That's the
Yeah, he
first
fought
time. I
twice
think
last year, but 2023 Dubois, that's once. 2022, Anthony Joshua once. 2021, Anthony Joshua once. 2020, Jarek Chisora once. 2019, Chaz Witherspoon once. So from 2019 to 2024, he went on a uh, 5 year run of just fighting once a year.
Yeah, did he
Five
fight
years.
3 times in 2018? That
Let me
was the
see.
last.
Yeah, he fought 3 times in 2018. That's correct. You're
Braides,
right.
Gassiev, Tony Belly. All right, yeah, because he's been just as inactive as Crawford. But like to me at the moment, I think Crawford pound for pound number one is a valid argument. Like I'm not gonna, you know, dispute people if they hold more stock with Usyk, but I would probably put Crawford because of what he did at 38, moving up that many weight classes and decisive beating another pound for pound fighter. But if people are gonna say he's inactive, then Usyk is just as inactive. I don't think Usyk and Crawford should be fighting for much longer. They're both like almost 40. To me, they got nothing less else to prove anymore. I think Usyk maybe could fight once or twice more, and Crawford could just fight once or twice by winning the middleweight title. Like these guys are, I think, all-time greats. Clearly Hall of Famers and the best of their era in their division or around their division. You could argue whatever the top two, but like I think they're just coming towards the end of their career. A heavyweight, I don't know who the best guy to beat Usyk is outside Kabayel, because some people are saying Itama. I just need to see more from Itama, because I'm just thinking, is Itama really like able to beat some of the other guys? Because if he is, then I think then we're talking. At the moment, we're basing it a lot off the eye test.
Yeah, yeah,
Dylan White, they're saying Dylan White's gonna fight Chisora, but Dylan White that win, I don't know how much stock I could read into it. Tama did what he had to do, but to me that was a clearly washed up shot fighter whose punch resistance is clearly gone as well.
yeah. It's
What do you
crazy.
reckon then? Usyk will end up taking this fight. Like Usyk, it seems to just be beaten up on British fighters.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
So you
crazy.
reckon Usyk will just end up fighting him next and not vacate the belt? Like,
Yeah,
because some people are saying Usyk should just, fight Kabayel. But I think he's going to get stripped then if he does that.
yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
What are you looking?
I think Usyk will probably, probably get stripped again if I'm being honest.
You reckon? Who does Wardley fight though? Do you have the rankings? Because Wardley's now taken Parker's place, but then I was thinking, is Atama ranked that high or is it someone else?
Well, let's take a look at the rankings. Let's take a look at the rankings. So 1 second. I know Tom is ranked number one by a few of them.
Is it WBA or one of them?
Let me
Maybe I
see.
see.
Let me see. Wow, they got. Let me see. Hold on. Parker. Utama's ranked number one by the WBO, and let me see. IBF is vacant, and Chisora is ranked number two, which is crazy. And now let's take a look. Caballero. Wow, Caballero is the WBC interim champion. Wow.
Is Fabio Wardley now the WBO interim? So they both, I think, got interim
Fabio
titles.
Wardley's the WBO interim. WBA.
Pulev got regular WBA, I
Yeah, he's
believe.
got the regular. So Tom was ranked number one by the WBO and ranked number one by the WBA.
Yeah, I think Itama needs to try and they need to if they want Itama to fight for the title, they need to put him in with a a live body or someone ranked quite high. Otherwise, they just need to say they want to develop the kid. I don't think anything wrong or there's no rush, like because I don't think he's ready for Usyk. Not even next year. I don't think he's ready for Usyk. At 41, maybe that's like 2.5 years. You're then still rebuilding, and you gotta take it step by step. So that's a different, different story or argument, a side of how to build him up. But at the moment, like I think it depends what they want to do with him. I would say it's Caballel and Wardley. Those are the two guys who have kind of in the shot. Outside that, I don't see the need for Usyk to fight Fury again. Like to me, it seems like Fury is only going to come back for either Usyk fight or unless they entice him for that AJ fight. I personally don't think he wants to fight AJ again because he knows he's in a no lose situation. If he beats him, Dubois already destroyed AJ, and if he loses to him, and I think style wise, AJ does have the style to cause Fury problems, then I think Fury will find it hard to accept that he's no longer like the second best heavyweight, arguably. At the moment, I don't know how you rate Fury that high because of how inactive he's been. Like to me, you gotta fight to beat someone. Like you can't live off your past accomplishments because the last time he won a fight was against Francis Ngannou, and even that was disputed, and it was against an MMA fighter who had zero um, boxer fight. The last time he actually won, I think, a actual legitimate fight against a ranked heavyweight was Dylan White, a top 5 or top 10, and then I think the last time was a ranked heavyweight was Chisora, but that's like almost 3 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, it's true.
Do,
That's
do you
true.
reckon? Do you reckon? Do you reckon Fury could still beat these guys like Fabio
Yeah, I
Wardley?
mean, I was so disappointed in Fury coming in at 281, and I thought he looked worse. And everyone said, "Oh, he looked better in the rematch than he did the first fight." I don't think so. I had him winning 6 rounds in the first fight. Like I only gave him 4 in the second fight. He was backing up in the. I'm just so disappointed in Fury, even though he's my cousin, man. I'm just disappointed in the guy because he doesn't stay in shape. His mind's just not focused all the time. The guy obviously made a shit ton of money, but I just don't think his head is in the game, man. And then
Do you think? Do you think
I
he'd
thought he
be the
lost to
same fighter?
Ngannou too. I thought he lost to
Yeah,
Ngannou. No,
a
I
lot
don't
of
think he's the
people.
same fighter. I don't think
No,
he's the same
The
fighter.
Wilder fights. I think the Wilder fights did
You
a
could
lot of
argue
damage.
that. You could
But he
argue
also
that.
he was delaying the Usyk fight as well. So there's like a double side of the coin. Like if he felt he was on the back nine, then maybe he should have just taken the Usyk fight to you. But at the same time, if you're getting offered like what was it 150 million, maybe he was doing what Mayweather like did against Pacquiao, just try and make as much money from the biggest fight available. I just think Usyk was all wrong for him because the Otto Wallin fight was the fight where I think it was Steve Kim when he said we still need to see Usyk fight Fury because of how tough that fight was, and that's where I start shifting my mind. And then the Nagano fight kind of confirmed it, even though he was completely out of shape, and I think he overlooked Nagano. Even if you're fighting a guy who's never boxed and was making his debut, you should at least be able to clearly win that fight. And he didn't. I thought he edged it, and that was just because of I think Nagano. I thought he slipped or gave up the last 2 rounds. Like some people still thought Nagano won because of the knockdown. Like I could also see that, but
Yeah, I had
that
Ngannou winning by a point because of the knockdown. Yeah.
that was the fight where I thought Usyk should definitely beat him. It's just about will they rob Usyk. But the rematch with Usyk, I think he came to try and steal a decision because I rewatched that. I think Fury won about 3 or 4 rounds at best, but even four, I think that you're giving him every benefit because I thought he won round one, round five, and round nine, and those are the only rounds I thought he actually won. Like I gave him round 10, but the round 10, I remember after a minute or so, Usyk was backing him up and beating him up. I don't know. I don't know if Fury is still able to beat all these guys. He's only gonna come back, I think, for a big fight. Like we just seen what happened to Parker. We seen what happened to Joyce as well. Does he like stay in character and not get knocked out if he fights guys like Zhang, Kabayel, Wardley back to back? Like, I don't know if he's able to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
He's 37 or 38.
Sure.
He's bound to come towards the end of his career. But well, shifting gears, what do you think about the Crawford Canelo situation? Do you reckon Canelo will end up having a rematch? Because I've seen some people say,
No, they can't do that fight again.
was it Dan Raphael said there's no contract between them? Yeah, I think he said, basically, he said if they both want to do it, they can have it, but there's no actual contract.
Yeah,
I don't mind if they don't have a rematch. I don't need to really see that. It's a big fight, but to me, Crawford clearly won that fight. I don't think there's any argument. I only gave Canelo 3 rounds. Some people had it wider, but when that fight ended, I could not see how you could give Canelo more than 4 rounds at best. Like,
yeah. I gave him like 3 rounds, but some people gave him four. I don't know, man. People ask who beat him worse, Floyd, Bivol, or Crawford.
yeah,
Obviously, you could argue like Floyd probably won by the widest margin. I had Bivol beating him 9-3. I had Crawford beating him 9-3. But the difference is like Crawford actually stood in the pocket and traded with him, where Bivol really didn't.
Crawford had no advantages. He was 38. He was moving up. Was it 2 or 3 weight
He had a
classes?
speed advantage. He had
No,
probably a
I'm talking about on paper. Like he didn't have size advantage like Bivol. He didn't have any
well,
stipulations.
Bivol
Like,
definitely had more advantages. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
More than Crawford did. Yeah.
All Crawford had was height, reach, and that. But we've seen people like have that advantages get negated. The main thing is Crawford at 38 moved up 2, 3 divisions, was inactive, hadn't ever fought a middleweight, never mind super middleweight, and did that. So to me, his win is the most impressive because I asked Steve Kim and Mario Lopez this question, and I agree with them also in the sense I think Bivol beat in terms of the best version of Canelo because at that time people are saying Canelo could maybe even fight Usyk. Canelo at that time was clearly a top 2 pound for pound fighter, but Bivol did have a lot of advantages. So the most, to me, in terms of the most impressive win on paper with the disadvantages and in terms of weight and all that would be Crawford. Like that was the most impressive. But
Yeah.
I think Bivol beat him when he was the closest to his prime as well. I don't know
Sure.
what's going on with Bivol and Batubia though. I think that Bivol winning that fight has kind of held up the division. Because I think if Batubia had even got a draw on the decision, because I rewatched that and a draw, I'm not going to argue if you had a 7-5 to Bivol. It
Yeah, I
was
had it
close.
7-5 Bivol the first fight.
Those are the two scorecards I thought were fair, either draw or 7-5 Bivol. But
I had better. Did I say Bivol? I mean, I had it 7-5 better beef the first fight.
no, I'm talking about the rematch. I had the same with you as for the first fight, but the rematch,
Oh,
I
did you
had a
have better
draw.
beef winning the first fight too?
Yeah, yeah, 7-5, but we have rematch, I had a
Yeah.
draw though. How did you score the rematch?
Oh, you had it to draw the rematch. Okay.
Yeah,
I had the rematch actually 8-4 for Bivol, but I don't hate your card. I don't hate your card.
I could see 7-5 or a
It
draw.
was it wasn't as bad as your Ward Kovalev card. No, I'm just I'm just kidding. I love busting your balls about that
Yeah,
because
but
you're
you know
very adamant about that fight.
because when I rewatched that fight, like on Sky
Yeah.
Sports, they were trying to say Ward, like Paulie Malignaggi gave Ward 8 rounds or 9 rounds in that fight, and they were
No,
trying to paint.
I gave Ward 7 rounds in that
Yeah, but
fight.
you need if you ever listen to a commentary for one fight where the whole team is reading a script and trying to sway the opinion was that Sky Sports because I think only Johnny Nelson out of about 7 people said that Ward didn't win. He said he had a draw. They all I don't know. I don't know if it was because Ward beat Carl Froch and they were trying to big up Ward. Or they just were all favouring him, but like Paulie Malignaggi scored the first round at 10-10, and then he doesn't give Kovalev another round until round 12 apart from I think the knockdown round. So he only gave him I think Paulie Malignaggi gave him round 2, round 12, and I believe he scored the first round. Yeah,
I
they were very biased. Like people complained about the HBO commentary. I didn't have a problem with how Harold Lederman or Jim Lampley actually were calling that fight because when I posted the scorecards recently, I think I sent it to you.
Yeah, you did.
All three judges had that fight pretty much the same as Aaron Lederman. Only one had a 4-2 after six, but that's how I saw it. I thought Kovalev dominated the first six rounds. Wood
Yeah, I don't think
won,
he dominated the first 6 rounds. I had
but
it three.
checked all three scorecards and check copy box as well.
Yeah, I had it 3-3 after
That
six.
was not 3-3. You, if you want to be generous, you could.
Bro, you had it 4-2. I
I
had
had
it
a
one
5-1,
round.
5-1. 5-1, I
No,
could
you
see
can't have it 5-1. It was either 4-2
two judges had
Kovalev.
a five. Two judges had a
You had it too wide. You had it too wide. I,
two judges had a
I
5-1
gotta I
cover.
gotta give you a little bit of more training because I was helping you out with your scoring and stuff early on. We gotta go back and do those seminars like we used to.
Now, two judges had the 5-1 Kovalev, and I think Harold
Let me
Lederman.
look. Let me look at the two judges, man. Let's look.
Check. I sent it to you. Check. I think it was John McKee and was it Bert Clemens or Glenn Trowbridge? That's what I'm
Let's
trying to say.
pull that
When
up
people
because I think that's a great. This is a great discussion.
no, because that's what I'm trying to say. When people say that was not a robbery, my contention is
Yeah, but you can't say that was a robbery. You can say you don't agree with the decision, but you
yeah,
can't say
but
it was a
this one
robbery.
this one I'm trying to see from round six, round 5 or 6 on all three cards, only one judge gave Kovalev one round. That was I think Trowbridge gave Kovalev the 12th round, and to me, what Steve Kim and I think it was Michael Montero was saying, that was kind of a case of the guy trying to look out
Yeah,
for.
one judge had it 4-2 after he had it 4-2 after
Yeah, but the
six,
rest of them had a 5-1,
and
and
the other two had it 5-1.
Harry Lederman also had it. So, like, people are saying Lederman was being biased. He had it the same as the two judges. That's what I'm
Oh,
trying
look
to
at
say.
yeah, but the look at the fans. The fans gave.
The fans are irrelevant. So what the heck is the fans got to? My point is,
Oh, you don't think the average fan scorecard means anything?
I remember the fans in that fight. It was 66.
One, two, three, four, five. Like that. If you look, one, two, three, four, five. If you look at the average fan scorecard right here, they gave Andre Ward 5 of the last 6 rounds.
Yeah, but on three of the scorecards, I think they gave him 6 of the last. I don't think he won 6. Like that's where I think I disagree.
Problem is Kovalev shit the bed after round 6.
But you know, round 10 was the round I thought Kovalev won, but round 12 was also a round I gave to Kovalev.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but the average fan scorecard gave that round to Ward,
no,
and
but the
and
problem,
so did two of the judges.
only one judge gave Kovalev one round from round 6 to round 7 to 12. That's where I disagree. Like,
You know where they made the biggest mistake, the judges?
what is that?
The clearest round outside of that round that Kovalev knocked them down in, which was round 2. The clearest round I thought that Kovalev won was round 10, and the average fan scorecard gave that to Kovalev, and I gave that round to Kovalev. But
Round
here's
6, round 6.
but
One of the judges gave Ward round 6. That's why
yeah,
I don't disagree.
yeah, I
I
didn't
don't
give.
agree.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to go back
like
and look at my card.
Gabe
But here's the
Montoya.
thing. Here's the thing. The biggest mistake that was made in that fight by the judges, and they all agreed on it, was they all three of them gave Ward round 10. I don't think Ward won round 10.
But they didn't admit that. I don't think they admitted that. They went
No,
all
I'm
that.
saying for me, I think that was a mistake. They all three of them gave
That's
round
what I'm
10.
trying to say. But that's what I'm trying to say. Look, if someone takes a dollar bill from you or $2, like this is what Gabe Montoya was saying, and I think it's a very good point. Some people would say that's not a big deal, but that's still robbing you of something. If that belongs to you, it's belonging to me. I've rewatched that fight a couple
Yeah,
of times because there was a very
yeah, but
good
you said
channel.
round 12 incorrectly though.
I know around 12, the guy from Leaving It in the Ring, he also said, I thought Kovalev did better work in round 12. How did
Yeah,
Harold Lenderman score round
but
12?
one but the average fan. So here's the thing: the average fan scorecard, right? There was 162 fans that scored the fight. They gave Ward round 10. Two of the judges gave Ward round 10. Only one judge gave Kovalev round 12. So here's the thing,
No,
man.
none of the judges gave Kovalev round 10. Round 10 you're talking about, isn't it?
No, 12. I said. I
All
meant
right,
to say.
you said 10. Only one judge gave him 12, but this is what I'm trying to say. Out of those, out of those 2 rounds, so the six
If you
scorecards.
if
Beeb,
you
one
flip
second.
round
Listen
12,
to this.
how do you
Listen
have
to.
it? If you flip round 12, how do you have it?
I scored that fight 8 rounds to 4 for Kovalev. If I
That's too
gave
wide.
Ward,
Too wide. Too wide.
no. If I gave Ward one more round, I would have had a 7-5. To me,
Yeah, you had it too wide.
no. But I thought 8-4, 7-5 Kovalev was about right. 7-5 Kovalev. Even if I gave him that round, he still Ward still loses. This is what I'm trying to say. On round 10, 3 of the scorecards all went to Ward. On round 12, 2 of them went to Ward. I don't see that in those 2 rounds. 5-1 to Ward. Like you admit that Kovalev won round 10. Now, I kind of moved on for it because I was a bit more emotionally invested. Even though
Yeah, you were emotionally
no no
invested in that. Let
no
me
no,
ask you
I'm
a
saying
question.
no
Did
no.
you and
I'm
Andre
so
Wood ever meet? You and Andre Wood ever meet?
no. I
Did you
was
ever
actually
ask for an
actually
autograph and he
more.
said no to you or something? What
I was a
happened?
big fan of Ward. No, I'm saying I was more emotionally invested in the sport of boxing. But after the Castano Chala fight, I realized the sport is so corrupt that it doesn't matter.
Well,
Like until the guy's got his head rigged. Like, because look, people accusing me of being, but I was one of Ward's biggest fans. Ward fought Froch. I only give Froch 2 rounds. That was the fight where they tried
yeah, I gave
robbing
Roch
Ward.
three. I think I gave Roch 3 rounds in that fight.
2 or 3. How did they have a 7-5? To me, that was an attempted
Yeah, I didn't think.
robbery.
I didn't think. Yeah, yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say. Boxing is so corrupt. Like,
yeah.
Froch did not win more than 3 rounds in that fight.
No,
I
no.
think
Well,
Sky
look
Sports.
at the Haney Lomachenko fight.
But
Like most,
I had Haney winning that fight. Like, to me,
yeah, but most people had Loman. Like you have to understand. You and I had Haney winning that fight. You don't realize we're like 70% of the people thought Lomachenko won that fight.
Maestro had Haney winning. Remember when
I
we did a very
understand
good.
that.
No, but I'm
I
saying
understand that. But most
on
people,
that panel we were split. I think the only guys that had Loma winning was Philly, and Philly. I don't trust Philly's scorecards because Philly said Loma won 9 rounds, but he also said Ward. He thought Ward beat Kovalev. To me, I kind of
a lot
disagree.
of people think Ward beat Kovalev. It was like, can I be honest with you? It was like 60% think probably Kovalev won, but
It
forty
was
percent think Ward.
it was about 66%. The code, I think it was Montero did a
Yeah, you don't go by Montero's polls. You have
no
to go
no
by the polls that I see.
no
No,
no
I love Montero. I love
not his post. Yo, Montero, when you had him on,
Montero. I love Montero to death, but
someone
that
hates him.
guy, he loves Eastern European fighters, bro. He loves that style. I'm not going to say he likes European fighters personally. I think he just loves that style of fighting. He loves Bivol. He loves
Usyk.
he loves Usyk. He loves Golovkin. He
Yeah,
loves
yeah, yeah.
Lomachenko. He loves all those guys.
No, I could also understand though, because a lot of those fighters, I think they are, what they are. The only one I would probably be a bit kind of debatable with him would be Triple G in terms of like I don't think it was safe to say Triple G was ever a top 10 middleweight because I think
No,
what
I
is
think
that?
Triple G was overrated. That doesn't mean I don't think
Yeah,
he was great. He,
yeah,
he was
because
a
what?
great fighter in his era, but I don't. I just think he was overrated. I thought Danny Jacobs beat him. I thought Derevyanchenko beat him.
Yeah,
A lot of people
Devonchenko, a lot of
don't.
people.
A lot of
I
people don't
did
agree with me
think
that I think Lovinchenko beat him, but I think Danny
B,
Jacobs beat
B,
him.
I initially thought Jacobs beat him, but that was a fight to me where I think the knockdown probably edged it. But to me, that was a fight that I thought was closer than the Ward Kovalev fight. If Jacobs got that decision, I wouldn't have been that
I thought Gabriel
annoyed.
Rosado beat Daniel Jacobs,
No,
but he didn't get the
that
decision.
was a robbery. That was a robbery.
That was
I
a
think
bad decision, I think.
they scored that a draw in it. Was it a draw?
And then
But
John Ryder got the decision over Danny J. I don't think John Ryder beat Danny Jacobs. I don't think he won
you
that.
know what? To be fair, I didn't watch both of those fights. I only seen the highlights because at that point I cancelled the zone.
Yeah,
But going by what I was watching with the highlights, because there was like a long highlights. Jacobs, I thought definitely lost to Rosado. The thing one, the Ryder one, I'd have to watch the full fight. But to me, it seemed like majority of the people thought Ryder lost that fight. I was
I thought Ryder
surprised.
lost that
I
fight.
was surprised Ryder somehow got that, fight and the decision. But regarding thing, Montero, I don't disagree too much with him, but I kind of disagree with like saying Usyk is pound for pound clean. Like he was saying, uh, Crawford beat way past his prime. Canelo, but I think you could apply that to Fury. Is Fury really in his prime?
No,
Like Fury, look
no.
at Fury's body weight in the Wilder rematch, and then compare it to
I
now.
I don't like what Fury does when he in between fights. I don't think he's disciplined.
He's got mentally, he's got some loose screws. Like the guy, he's got some serious mental issue. He doesn't know
He,
how to look after himself, and he kind of balloons up and down in weight. And it caught
yeah,
up to him. But I did like the way Fury boxed against Klitschko. Like that was a fight. I don't think that Klitschko really won more than 3 rounds in that fight. Like some people I've
I had it
seen,
9-3 for Fury.
you could have went 10-2. Klitschko outside round 12. I don't know what Klitschko was doing. Like there was probably another round I gave him, but Vladimir just wouldn't let his hands go, and he just couldn't fight it. But like that was a fight where Fury wasn't really doing much, but I thought Klitschko was doing virtually nothing. So I can't give Klitschko many rounds. That's what I'm trying to say. When it's fights like that, or like Lopez and Lomachenko, I don't see how people said either one of those fights were close. Like Loma just didn't do anything for 8 rounds. Like that was another fight where I don't know how people had their draw. I think Andre Ward had their draw. Max Kellerman, I think, might have had their draw. Even
Andre
Montero, I think.
Andre Ward had Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez. I think he had that a
That's the
draw.
fight. Yeah, that's the fight I said. Not
Oh,
Klitschko, I
you talk
think.
about that? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah. He
Oh,
had their
sorry, I'm sorry.
draw. He had their draw. I think Montero
Teddy
may have.
Atlas.
I actually agree a lot with what Teddy Atlas says, but if he had that draw, then I think Teddy, because I
And then
rewatched
that round two where everybody
Loma
had like
did,
there's one
landed one shot or something.
he
I
had a one
remember,
shot. Like a lot of people were giving him that round, and I'm like, no, you don't give
but
him
he
that
didn't
round.
do anything for 2 minutes and 55 something seconds. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the same with one of the Britubia Bival early rounds. Like Bival done the better work for majority of the round, but Britubia landed one big shot. I just can't give someone a round based on one good shot. And I'm actually a fan of Batubia, but to me, that round, I think Bival won. That was such a hard fight to judge, the rematch. The first fight to a degree, but to me, the first fight, Bival kind of was like backtracking so much after round 4 that I thought it was hard to give Bival that win. Bival admitted he lost the first fight, so I don't know how so many people are saying. Like he, on I think it was the BBC podcast, he even said he didn't think he did enough. But
What
that fight,
in the better beef fight? He didn't think he did enough. He
yeah,
said.
the first fight. In the rematch, his body language showed like he also thought that was close, so it could have been a draw. But the first fight, he admitted it. And if you look at his
Let's look at the
face,
let's look at the average fan scorecard for that fight because I love looking at the average
that
fan
was
scorecard.
split. I think that was very close to the first fight.
Let's see. Let's see. So you got to go on box rec and you got to look at these average fan scorecards, man, because they're pretty good. I think. Dimitri Bivol. Plus, he's coming off of what, a back injury? Did he have surgery or something? They said.
He hasn't fought since February. Apparently, I would have liked to have seen Beterbiev and Benavidez' fight because I
Let's
think
look at the average fan scorecard because I actually had that one a little wider than you
uh,
did. Oh, one judge did have it a draw. One judge had it 115 and 113. I actually had it 8-4 for Bivol that the second one.
I think all three on paper are possibly reasonable, but
Yeah,
like
the average fan scorecard had it at 116 and 112 like me. And guess how many people scored that fight? 576 people scored that fight on BoxRec.
the
Now
design commentary was very biased, though. If I'm being honest, and people,
well,
you know what?
the professional officials had it a draw. They have another section where they have like this average professional official
That's how I
score.
had it. That's how I think the guys on Boxing Rant. A lot of people had their
Kind of
draw.
pissed. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of pissed that Better Beef didn't get the third fight. I know Bivol's hurt, but the fact that they can't just put together the third fight right now, like there's no urgency for the third fight.
Bivol is doing what Canelo did to Triple G. Like he stole the fight, and like a lot of these matchroom fans try to like twist saying Beterbiev has been injured on and off. The problem is Beterbiev unified with Gvozdyk, unified with Joe Smith, he wanted to fight Bivol for years. Like he ran back the second fight straight away. He wanted the third fight. Bivol to me is holding up the division now. Now, like the argument of who won the second fight, that's fair. You could argue Bivol won that fight, and if you had it a bit more cleaner than the first fight, that's fine. I personally thought they were both close fights, but to me, Bivol has kind of taken a playbook out of Canelo's hand because when Canelo beat Triple G, I was arguing, I remember, or debated with the guys on the Grueling Truth and some other guys. I even said, I personally don't need to see the third fight straight away. That's if Canelo fights Kovalev, because he was going to move up two divisions. Bivol is not fighting anyone. He's not fighting Benavidez. He's not fighting Batubiev. I'm not even talking about the injury now. I'm talking about in June, July, when they would been like 3-4 months. He'd vacated his belt. Like, it's not a good look. Like, the longer this goes on, to me, it seems like Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are just trying to get Bivol and Callum Smith
Yeah,
down that.
don't be surprised if the WBO doesn't end up stripping them too.
Yeah, it kind of annoys me because I think if Beterbiev got the decision or even was a draw, like a draw would, I don't think would have been a bad decision. A lot of people would have just been bitching like they do it over the stoppage. Boxer fans just overreact and go over the top, but Benavidez and Beterbiev then could have fought because I think Benavidez fought in February. Beterbiev also fought in February. The rematch, they could have fought now instead of Anthony Yard and this whole situation with Beterbiev was meant to be on the undercard. I was told that basically Beterbiev couldn't fight because of a top rank issue. So I don't know what the hell is going on. The third fight, I don't know if we'll ever see it, like at this stage. Because
Yeah.
to me, do you reckon with all these DAZN pay-per-views, Turkey is either losing money or they're trying to make a profit?
No,
Because,
I gotta say this, and you give me your opinion on it because you're a
God,
smart guy. You're almost as smart as me, but not there yet. But the thing is this, right? Tell me this isn't so. I'm not gonna say it's identical, but isn't this whole thing so similar to the PBC? They got all that money in the beginning, and then once they ran through it, in the beginning they were giving you good fights, everything was free, and then once the money ran out, then they started putting everything on pay per view, and then they had this other side of the street thing. And I showed shout out to T Street Controversy. He actually put up the interview that when Chris Mannix did with the vice president of
Bill
Fox
Wagner,
when
was it Bill Wagner or someone?
yes, thank you so much, Bill
All right.
Wagner. Thank you, because I forgot his name. And he said that Al Heyman and him were talking, and they wanted to have their own belt. Like all this is so like don't be fooled for a second that every promoter doesn't want to run the sport themselves. Let's just get that out of the way. If any promoter could just do what the UFC's doing over in MMA, they would do it. Heyman tried it, right? And Hearn kind of tried it a little bit over in the UK. And even when Hearn came to the United States and started promoting back in 2018, he was telling everyone, "Oh, I'm gonna dominate this market. I'm gonna beat everyone." Blah blah blah. So let's not make no mistake. But there's so many parallels to what Turkey's doing to what Al Heyman was trying to do back then. And if you follow the history and you look at the formula, it only ends one way. But the only difference that you see with Turkey Al Sheikh is he's using government money. He's using the public investment fund, and he's going through Salah in Saudi Arabia, and that public investment fund is going to probably reach $1 trillion in another 2 to 3 years. So that's almost close to $1 trillion right now. It's several $100 billion, right? So so that the piggy bank and the war chest isn't going to run out like Al Heyman's money did. But after a while, you got to say like this lost leader model. How long is it going to last? Because you're starting to
It's
see
not sustainable long term, and
it's
I've
not
said that.
sustainable. Even though the money's there, after a while, Turkey's just not going to want to pay it either. Because now, if you notice, he's starting to be a little bit more selective with throwing this money around. Like now, there's now you're starting to see, yeah, he's these cards are becoming far and few between now. Like you're starting to see a slight bit of slowdown from Turkey Al Sheikh right now. You have David Benavidez right now versus Anthony Yard, right, which is not a horrible fight. But why don't you have David Benavidez versus Archer Beterbiev?
Yeah,
Why
no,
couldn't you do that? You know what I mean?
a good
Why
point.
don't why
The thing
why can't you
is,
do Bakram Mardazuliev versus I don't know,
Marmo.
Boots Ennis?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, why
No,
can't why can't
Boots doesn't want that fight, but I understand what you're saying. He's not paying for guys
he's
like
starting to
Janabek.
slow down a little bit now.
Yeah, but
He came out hot and heavy, and don't get me wrong, this year's been okay, but last year was even better, right?
he gave Tyson Fury like 100 million. He gave Usyk, I think, almost 100 million for those two fights, and I think I don't know if they paid for the Dubois fight, but they had
Well,
some.
let's
But my point is this: this is all part of the 2030 Saudi movement.
sure.
They only in this initially short term to, for tourists. And after doing research and speaking to Maestro, yes, Saudi, there's a lot of problems in Saudi. I like a lot of good things about Saudi, but politically, they're not what they perceive. They're trying to go down the Western route, and now they're trying to, attract tourists. If people want to call it sports watching, whatever, there's a lot of things they're doing that actually are not good. But
Yeah,
long term,
I think this is all political, in my
yeah, but
opinion.
long term, where does this leave the sport? Because uh, the problem I have is when people are paying for the zone, and Turkey's got like some sort of share in the zone. You shouldn't be paying a pay per view on top. We could say what we want about the PPC, but a lot of those fights were like on like networks like Showtime. Well,
Doesn't he own
initially,
like 15% of the zone though himself? Didn't he buy
20,
in like 15,
20, I think someone would say 20%. It's not a big stake. I think it was that much. 20,
20%, right?
20%, still a lot though. But that's what I'm
But
trying to say. We're paying for the zone subscription yearly. We're not really getting anything. And whenever he's doing a show, because now the Benavides card, which he said in November is not going to be a pay per view, is a pay per view. To make it short, what I'm trying to say, when Heyman was doing all those shows on PBC, on pay per view, with the PPC. I agree. A lot of them should not have been on pay per view, even though I paid for some of the recent ones and in the last couple of years because they also on pay per view in the UK. A lot of people were not paying for Showtime for boxing. A lot of people are just paying for the zone for just to watch boxing, and we're not even getting actually any boxing content. Like Matchroom have not been great. Queensbury have gone down the pay per view route. Now they're doing the same. The only, I think, outfit, and you probably agree with me, Top Rank were doing it on ESPN to an extent where they weren't doing that many pay per views. Golden Boy are doing the same thing. Although I don't know, Golden Boy are not really doing that many shows. Like
who,
they're
who
not
does more who does more pay-per-views?
the
Frank,
zone.
Frank or Eddie?
Frank is now, but people seem to think that Eddie is some sort of saint. Eddie put both of the first two Dilla White and Derek Chisora fights on pay per view. Up until he was with Sky, he put Chisora Parker on pay per view. Initially, the whole pitch was Eddie Hearn, the guy who was seen on his own pay per views, dead. So it took him for a couple of years, but then once they started doing pay per views, Matchroom were the ones who promoted all those Canelo fights on pay per view. I know people are now going to say Canelo is a pay per view fighter, but my point is this all started with Matchroom, and now Queensberry are doing the same. Frank Warren is no different to any of these other promoters. The only problem is people are paying for the zone. That's the bottom line. Like whether that's Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, or even if it's Oscar De La Hoya, I don't think Oscar and Golden Boy are anywhere near the other two. Because to me, the PBC and what Matchroom and Queensberry have been doing for years. Like people keep selecting 1 year or this year. Those three now have been doing the most pay per views. Top Rank and I think Golden Boy for years have kind of only done a handful of pay per views. Like I think Golden Boy were doing it with Canelo. Top Rank did some with Tyson Fury, but apart from that, they both actually done minimal pay per views. Like the pay per views they've done with, I think Ryan Garcia or Canelo have actually sold well. So those are fights you could say that should be maybe on pay per view. But my problem with this is, what does this even do for the zone? Like, I don't know if Netflix will get into boxing, but you're actually doing everything you said you weren't going to do. You said pay per view is dead. You said everything will be free. it's really a Ponzi scheme if you think about it. Like people are now paying for DAZN, and there's a pay per view every month. There's a pay per view this month. There's a pay per view I think last month with the Moses Tama fight. There's a pay per view next month. There's a pay per view in December with Derek Chisora and Dillian White. Like, where does this all lead to? And people keep blaming Turkey, but I don't even think Turkey had any involvement with yesterday. So like,
Oh, Turkey didn't have anything to do with yesterday.
so they can't keep blaming Turkey. Like
Oh, you
Turkey
can't
has
blame
been
Turkey for that.
Turkey has become a scapegoat. It's Frank Warren, Queensberry, whatever, Matchroom, but ultimately it's DAZN because they're the ones who keep greenlighting these fights. So I seriously don't know. This is not good for the sport of boxing because the PBC are just as bad. They've been the worst culprits you could say in America for so many years. But
Yep.
recently they kind of on their last legs. I think they're almost done, or they're gonna
Well,
let Turkey.
you
Who have they
saw with
got?
you saw Tom Brown endorse the new
Muhammad
Muhammad
Ali
Ali
acted.
amendment. So I'm guessing a lot of those PBC fighters who are just sitting around waiting to get the call to be on card. I think a lot of those like Vito Milnecki, he was a he was kind of a PBC guy before going to Top Rank. Now he's probably I'm hearing he's going over to the TKO boxing. So I think a lot of those PBC guys will probably go over to TKO boxing in my opinion.
Well, look at it like this: David Benavidez is fighting on a Riyadh season event, which is on the zone
Sure.
now,
Yeah.
and Javante Davis is fighting on Netflix. So I don't know how long this is gonna last. They're trying to, I think, turn Isaac Cruz into some sort of pay per view draw. But
It's
if
not going
if
to
you're
happen.
if you're trying to hold on to a 46 going on 47 Manny Pacquiao to start doing pay per view fights, I think you're desperate. And according to Dan Rafael on, I think it was Big Fight Weekend podcast the other day, I listened, he said the Pacquiao fight didn't even, with Mario Barrios, didn't even crack 200,000. That's why those numbers weren't released. If I'm being realistic, it's probably closer to 150,000 because according to Rick Glazer, I remember speaking to him years ago. I know Glazer is like hit or miss. Some people don't like it, but he said all these numbers are always exaggerated. And I could actually believe that
Well, a lot
because
of them too are their estimates too.
yeah,
So
Javante Davis was not doing those numbers in a lot of those fights. With the Ryan Garcia fight, that did sell. That probably did either a million, which was reported, or close to a million. That I could believe that because that was a big fight commercially. But a lot of these other fights, I think, apart from maybe it may have been Leo Santa Cruz, one of those fights I think did a bit better than the others. But the rest of them, the numbers were all inflated or exaggerated. This one I'm trying to say. So you got PBC doing only pay per views. Now you got DAZN doing the. I think DAZN are now worse because DAZN are asking you to pay for a subscription and they're doing pay per view on top. Like when people were watching or paying for Showtime, they weren't just paying for, like I said earlier, for boxing. Or now with Amazon Prime, people don't just get Amazon Prime the subscription just for boxing. Like there's other things on there. Or that's a bigger thing than boxing. And with the zone, they don't really have anything else to offer, really, if I'm being honest. The ESPN app have got other things. Yeah, to go to another point, what do you reckon about Top Rank then? Do you think they will even get a new network deal? Because some people are saying the zone would end up picking up Top Rank. I don't think that's happening.
yeah, I can't even begin to think what's going to happen to Top Rank if I'm being honest with you. I just don't know at this point.
Well, they got a card next weekend with Michaela Mayer and I forgot her name. Which is, not a bad card. Like even me, I'd probably watch it because I think that's gonna be, free on one of those streaming services. But they still haven't announced anything, and I thought like they would have done something by now. But we're in November, almost in November, and like, I think there's a problem, serious problem in boxing, especially in North America, because the only ones who are showing fights are the zone. In the UK, it's not been too familiar, but the BBC have announced they're going to start doing fights. And I think someone will pick something up, because I think Johnny Nelson, according to him, he said, I think Sky Sports may get back into boxing. But it is a problem. Look, you got Sky Sports out of boxing, TNT Sports out of boxing. In America, Showtime have already gone. We know HBO, they've been long gone, but ESPN now, they're not doing any boxing. Are ESPN doing some sort of boxing? Because I don't know if that does that count ESPN Deportes and
Um, I thought Manny Pacquiao signed a deal with ESPN to do some of the smaller shows from his Pacquiao promotions thing, and I don't think they're going to be done completely, but
all
I
right.
think
So
they may.
they're doing
I think
some
they'll probably scale down significantly when it comes to dealing with the big guys. And
Oscar Valdez fought I think a couple of months ago on some sort of ESPN channel. So yeah, they may be doing some sort of show, but they haven't signed like a deal or they don't have a exclusive contract because the rumor was PBC were going to sign with ESPN. I don't know what you think about that. I'll get your opinions on it. Do you think that would have been a good thing? But I think ESPN probably did the right thing because
yeah,
if they're doing pay per views on ESPN, then I don't know what that even does for the network.
yeah. Again, it's just crazy, man. I just don't. I don't see any positive things on the horizon for BBC. I just don't think their model has been sustainable. I think they don't have they can't get the rights fee deals that they need, which is why all the fights are on pay per view because Amazon is just didn't give them a big budget. I don't think.
The only ones who are doing boxing consistently DAZN, but now DAZN are doing everything on pay per view.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of pay per views now.
I,
They're saying they're going to do that fight pass thing where you have to pay extra to get pay per views on that or something like that. So
I brought the annual thing last year, not the actual annual, but the monthly. You know when you get a monthly where you pay
do
for
you still have a
monthly.
subscription to the phone right now, or did you
Yeah,
cancel it?
I subscribed last November. Last November, so they said
Did you pay for the year or do you pay monthly?
I'm paying monthly, but it's annual. Like I gotta pay for 12 months every month. Like what do they
How
call
much do
that?
they charge you?
I got offered £10 a month. I think £10 or $10. I can't
And guess
remember
how
the
much
exact.
we have to pay
What is
if
it? Is
we
it? Yeah, but
30
you did.
bucks a month.
Yeah, but you didn't take the deal. There was a Black Friday or some sort of offer last November, and I sent it to someone, one of the guys in America, and I even told him get this now because once the discount goes, you're gonna end up having to pay extra price. But I only got it because it was £10. Normally we gotta pay £15, which I think is $20 a month. That's the real cost. But I got it last year, so I was offered that deal, £10 a month. I think it would have come down to like 750 if I got it annually. If I got it for the whole year, all at once, and I paid, it would have worked out like that. But I thought I'd just rather pay for the installments every month, and it costs about £10 a month. But once that goes, I've been offered like £13 a month, but I don't know what the deal is. Like only being discounted £2 more. If they're gonna pour fights like Jaron Ennis and Lima on a regular schedule, then anything remotely decent. Like last night was a very good heavyweight
That
fight.
fight was so horrible, wasn't it?
I can't believe I wasted my time watching
Oh,
that.
it's so bad, bro.
No, but Eddie Hearn is such a great salesman. He tried to convince people this was some sort of good fight.
Oh my god.
I can't remember who was on the undercard. I think there was maybe a couple of decent fights on the card, but I was watching I think something else, and then I switched over, watched the main two fight. Guido and Nelly. That was a decent fight. I watched that and the main event, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like the zone are not in a good place. You know what? I think the biggest threat is Dana White. I think because I was listening to Steve Kim and Mario Lopez, Dana White was actually exposing a lot of the boxing industry, the whole business side of it, and when I think Steve Kim was even saying, why are they all blaming you for the whole Muhammad Ali act? I think they're worried because if you think about it, all these guys attacking Dana White, they either don't like him because of his political stance, or they're big advocates of PBC. But I think if Dana White and Turkey get this right, I think they could actually, take over. It's just about can they get the fighters on board because
Think about this. Think about
that's
this,
the main
right?
thing.
This isn't about the fighters. This is about the promoters, like you just said, feeling threatened. And you know why they're threatened? Because Turkey Al Sheikh, right, has been subsidizing these guys these last couple of years, right? Eddie Hearn in particular. So now they're seeing Turkey Al Sheikh, and this was Turkey Al Sheikh's idea, I believe. I mean, I think he spearheaded this and just asked Dana White to be part of it. That's just my opinion. And this is something Dana White always wanted to do, but he just never really went full throttle with it. He had the UFC Fight Pass, but he never went full throttle with it. But once Turkey Al Sheikh presented this deal to him, I think he decided I'm going to jump on board. But think about this. So Turkey Al Sheikh subsidized these other guys, and now he's starting to he's investing a lot of money into this. So now they're sitting there saying, "Oh, is he going to reallocate the money that we were getting? Is that going to be reallocated to TKO? Is he going to start leaving us out to dry here and not putting up the money for our fights anymore and focus more on this?" That's number one. And number two, you hear about, yeah, this is going to be like the Contender Series. This is going to be like the mid to lower level guys. And I talked about this on with Broadway Joel. He's got his channel, and I said, well, yeah, but these guys still need the mid to lower level guys to fill up their undercards. So if that talent pool shrinks, how are they going to fill up their undercards? So there's a lot of moving parts here, and there's a lot of reasons why guys like Eddie Hearn, guys like Oscar De La Hoya in particular are mad, because
Yeah.
this is a threat. This is a threat to them. You don't hear Frank really talking too much because he does cards in the UK, and he'll do just fine regardless because he does have all the heavyweight. I think Frank's got a better stable than Eddie. This is my opinion.
Oh,
I don't know
100
what
times. Right. No, but why is Eddie mad then? Why is Eddie mad? Because
I just explained to you, because he's no longer Turki Al Sheikh's favorite son anymore. Now he's thinking, oh my God. He's saying to himself, right? If this guy is going to stop giving him money, where's my cash? Where am I going to get the money from this guy from? He may be reallocating money he would be giving to me and giving it to Dana White. So he's like the jealous girlfriend right now, in my opinion.
no,
And not only that,
I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is Frank Warren is able to do shows like yesterday on his own, successful.
because
I
he
thought,
doesn't have Eddie's Frank. Here's the thing: Frank Warren has this heavyweight division on lock. He also has Hamza Shiraz, who's another guy that Turki Al Sheikh absolutely
oh yeah,
loves.
that's a good point.
Yeah, Nick Ball is another one that I think is a good fighter.
Yeah, Eddie doesn't have anyone in because AG is on his
Who does
last
he have?
leg.
Does Frank
Conor
have
Ben,
Joshua? Does Frank have Joshua Buatsi now too?
yeah, he's got Joshua Buatsi. I
Yeah.
think
Can I tell you something? Even though Joshua Buatsi lost, don't sleep on that guy. That guy's
no,
still
no,
a good.
that was a great fight. That was a great fight.
Yeah,
I thought that was like
he
a
can
close
still be
fight.
champion. He's got a bright future. So he's got him. So he's got some. I love Nick Ball, right?
Nick Ball's a good fight. No, but the thing is, who has Eddie Hearn got apart from Conor Ben? That's the only guy, and a lot of hinges on his fight with Eubank. Like, what I'm trying to say, AJ is a
Listen,
big name. AJ is
here's the thing:
34, 35.
if
AJ and
Conor,
Fury are both going to retire soon. So,
yeah, AJ is going to be gone. Who else does Eddie have? Like Shakur left him, right? Boots
Canelo left him as well.
Canelo was just a temporary little thing he was doing with him. That was a little pet project. I think Eddie's a good promoter, but I think he overrates himself.
I think Eddie's full of shit, man.
He's like, here's the thing too. Like, if you want to sit there and say you're the best promoter out there, you've never had a fight that was ever the highest grossing fight in a year. Like, you didn't do Canelo. That's another thing. He's jealous because Dana did Canelo Crawford.
well, basically, Eddie Hearn lived off his father's success, and the only guy he actually groomed from the beginning was AJ. Apart from that, Kell Brook was Frank Warren's fighter. He stole him or took him. He took Carl Frott from McKenzie. He took Darren Barker from. There was a very good.
He never built. Frank built guys.
Frank built his entire stable. He built Ricky
Like,
Hatton,
Eddie just takes
Joe
people.
Calzaghe.
He takes other people's fighters. He never
That's what
built.
that's
You
what I'm
could
trying to
argue,
say.
oh, he built Anthony Joshua, but I could have promoted. I could promote Anthony Joshua from my fucking bathroom,
No,
making deals.
the thing I don't understand about his fans, look at the job he did with Cal Brook, and now with Jaron Ennis. Like when these guys sign with him, they act like this guy's the second coming of Jesus Christ. I understand. Look, listening to interviews, I understand why he's so good at his job. He knows how to market to the
Listen,
casuals. He knows how to sell anything. He could sell anything. But at the same time, as a hardcore boxer fan who really is in it for boxing, not for promoters or networks or like a particular fighter, I just want to see the best fighter. Best. Most cases, Eddie Hearn, I don't think it does really a great job when he gets to a certain level. Like he could do certain things with some fighters, or I think with women's boxing he did a good job, but in men's boxing, like I look at like with Jaron Ennis, I don't know how much blame I blame Boots or Eddie at the time because they
Well,
one fighter saying one thing and the promoter saying another. I don't know what to believe. What he was doing. I thought recently with Diego Pacheco, they could have fought. I think it was Kristen and Billy. Like I like the fight he's taken now with Kevin Sajo, but my point is, apart from AJ, and I was accused of being like some sort of AJ fanboy, but I thought Eddie and AJ.
I didn't think you were an AJ
No, no,
fanboy.
no. But what I'm
You were
trying to,
fair. I thought you were fair with your criticism or
but what
assessment.
I'm trying to say, when AJ was doing his thing, I gave him a lot of praise because I thought Eddie did not put a foot wrong. Like from the Dilla White fight, it was one, good fight after another. Apart
Yeah, but
from I
here's
think
my problem with AJ. How do you go through your career and never fight Wilder and never fight Fury? How does that happen?
that's the big question now. That's what I'm
How do
saying.
you have Kell Brook in Amir Khan and you can't make that fight? That was one of the biggest fights in UK history. No,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. No, I agree. That's where the
how do you not
criticism.
make that fight?
That's where the criticism lies. But this is what I'm trying to say. Right now is the time to get AJ to fight either Fury or Wilder. He can't go his career. I think some blame falls on Fury, but at the same time, then I don't understand why you can't make the Wilder fight. Like they're talking about fighting on an undercard or fighting in the UK. I think just make the Wilder fight. I know they're both washed, but at the same time, they're both like coming off or they've been knocked out. So it's like at the point where they may as well both just fight each other if AJ and Fury can fight. My point, main thing is with Eddie is he does a lot of these fights. Like what he's doing with Ben Whittaker. Now he's just signed him and people are getting excited. But the guy he's fighting is a nobody. Ben Whittaker is another fighter I think they're going to protect. And I thought that was the same with Cal Brook. But then what he did in the end with Cal Brook was kind of bad because he kind of completely threw him in the like to the sharks with it.
What's he doing with AJ right now? He's milking the fuck out of him. Like, what is AJ going to do now? Is AJ ever going to be
I
heavyweight
think
champ
AJ
again?
mentally has got one foot out the door. And to be fair, with the Dubai fight, a lot of people thought he should have retired. Like to
Now you're going
me,
to stick him. Now you're going to stick him on an undercard. I mean, come on, man.
yeah, some people are saying Mahmoudov calling him out was disrespectful. I don't know. I don't know if he's too good for
Why?
Mahmoudov. Who else is he gonna fight then? Like, don't get me wrong. I would probably favor AJ at the moment. It depends how long he's out the ring. But if you're not gonna fight the top guys, or you can't fight the top guys, however you wanna phrase it, you gotta fight someone. If not, just retire. Same with some other fighters. I was seeing what he was doing. But like that's where like because I think I've kind of gone on a bit of tantrum. Going back to the initial thing, what Eddie Hearn I think is more mad at is kind of a personal thing, but at the same time you can do your own shows. Like that's what I don't understand. Like Frank Warren had that card with
Yeah,
Hugo.
because he's jealous. He's trying to minimize and subtract from Dana White to add to himself.
Yeah,
He doesn't he's he he they look at this guy as a threat, man.
he is no, he is a threat. But I'm trying to say Eddie Hearn. I don't know. He had, I think, was it Josh? Not Josh Taylor. Did he have Josh Taylor? He was not promoted Josh Taylor. He was promoted Jack Catterall actually. That
And
was
Jack
not
Catterall.
that was not
Where's
a big.
Jack Catterall now? Frank, who has Jack Catterall now?
No, no, Eddie Hearn got him, but that was not a big event. Frank had him. Frank let him go, and Jack Catterall is
Frank
not a
let him go.
guy.
Okay.
Jack Catterall had a fight with Harlem Eubank, I think, that ended in a no contest. But my point is, when Frank Warren's putting on these shows, it seems like the zone are now kind of giving him more money because he put on
He's got better
Hrgovic.
fights.
He's got better fights, better matchups. Hrgovic and Joyce was a good, I thought, matchup or fight, whatever. He had the fight last night. The only problem I have with what Frank Warren is doing is you're going to end up doing the same thing or you're doing the same thing I do. You can't keep putting stuff on pay-per-view because on TNT, I know he put on some of these Fury fights on pay-per-view. Majority of those cards were not pay-per-view to my knowledge, unless it was like a Riyadh season event. So you got to be careful. You can't put Dylan White and Derek Chisora. I'm not going to blame him too much. I'm going to blame the zone because Eddie Hearn put the first two fights on pay-per-view. I don't think any of those fights should have been pay-per-view, especially the third one, because obviously Moses Atama is knocking him, just knocked him out in the first round. But the fact that they even headlined a pay-per-view event in the past shows what the problem is with boxing. I think the pay-per-view market has been saturated and overused. But at the moment, I think Frank Warren is able to put on cards himself. Like he's got, I think Joshua Buatsi fighting. What's the guy's name? Is it Zach Parker next? I think is next
Zach Parker,
weekend.
that's a pretty good fight. I like
But
that
you
fight.
know the problem is, I think Eddie Hearn is putting all his eggs into the American stable. Do you reckon that's the case? Because he's now more invested in fighters like
Yeah, they're saying they were saying he's doing more fights in America than he is in the UK because there's more money over here.
Bam
Even though
Rodriguez.
even though it's not as popular over here, like think about it, you can generate more revenue over here because of the ticket prices and the pay-per-view are more expensive over here, and usually the rights fees for these fights. Like American fighters make more than UK fighters.
Yeah, but how
You
much
know,
does Eddie Hearn make? Or Matchroom make? Is his shows making more money in America as well?
wow,
That's the big
yeah, that's the
question.
thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Because look, Bam Rodriguez, good fighter. Boots Ennis, good fighter. Who's the Diego Pacheco? These are good fighters. I'm not like Jaya Patai. That's another one. I don't know what the hell is going on with Jaya Patai. I know people keep saying the IBF keep enforcing mandatory challenges on him. If you're at the point where you can't unify, you may as well move up to heavyweight. Like I don't understand what the point is in fighting these guys. Because I don't think Zerdo and Golden Boy are gonna make that fight with Jai. I think Zerdo and Golden Boy are gonna try and make the fight with David Benavidez, but that's another fighter. Like Alberta's career is being wasted. Same thing happened with Cal Brook. Ben Whittaker, people are getting excited. I think the same thing will happen with Ben Whittaker. Jaron Ennis, the same thing is happening with him. The fighters I think he's got something with is Bam Rodriguez, who's fighting on a turkey card. Like he's got something, and I think who was the other one? Diego Pacheco. If they could match him up properly, because I like the fight he's having next. That's not a bad fight. That French guy is quite tough. If they could start putting him in with maybe Hamza Shiraz or
Yeah,
Christian Billy, Lester Martinez, you got something because I think Pacheco does decent numbers in I think it's his hometown, but I think you got to start doing your own shows or start focusing on the UK market because
I agree.
the UK market is his bread and butter. But like you said, it's a double-edged sword. Maybe he just doesn't have the fighters anymore because in the UK, outside Conor Ben, who has he really got? That's even a big
Do
draw.
you would you give him credit for Connor Ben, or do you think Connor Ben was always going to be big because of his father's name?
I don't think Conor Ben was that big as his father's name because at the beginning, same with Campbell, with Campbell
So,
Atkins.
so we can give maybe Eddie a little bit of
Yeah,
credit for
yeah,
building
you
Connor
could
Ben.
you could give him some credit because
We'll give him credit for Connor Ben, and we'll give him credit for A. Well, I don't know if we can give him that much credit for AJ though, because AJ is just always was always going to be.
but the
Was always,
reason I would give him credit for AJ is they didn't have to put him in with Klitschko. They didn't have to fight and make the fights with guys like uh, Alexander was it Povetkin was a man or Joseph Parker. He like he could have got the IBF title and kind of milked it for years and done what Wilder did. So I do give Eddie credit. I think it's AJ as well because speaking to like I met AJ before the Parker fight. I think AJ's mindset was a bit more different to guys like Tyson Fury and even Wilder. I know Fury's taken on bigger risk and you could argue has got better single wins, but Fury in between has done a lot of those, to me, filler fights, even when he's got to that world level.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
Tom
Fury's got
Shorts,
some.
Tom Shorts, and guys like Chisora in the third
Yeah,
fight. Yeah, but
yeah.
AJ up until he beat from Klitschko, you could say, not even Klitschko, probably I would say a bit before. Dilla White,
Parker's a good.
Dilla
Parker's
White,
a good. Povetkin's a
Povetkin,
good name.
Parker, he fought Usyk twice when he really, didn't have to. He could have done what Fury did. So I give him
Obviously,
credit. I give him and Eddie credit. I just think, like you said, they gotta make at least one of the fights. If it's not Fury, Wilder. Even though I think if he ends up knocking out Wilder, most people will probably not give him credit. But you gotta do what Cal Brook and Khan did. They ended up fighting. Just make the fight. If not, just retire because it's gonna be a bad look.
what do you
But
think of this? What do you think of this statement right here? Nobody is talking about about Matchroom's partnership with Rock Nation. This is huge.
do they have anything announced though? Because I think I heard about that.
I think working together like because Rock Nation's kind of like a sports management company, so I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. What they're actually getting out of it. I'm sure they're getting something out of it, obviously, but I just don't know how much of an impact that's going to have.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But like, I don't know what he's gonna do with the UK stable. If Conor Ben loses to Eubank, I don't know what else he's got in the UK
Who you
because
got in that fight? Who you got in that fight?
I I probably would still pick Eubank as long as the weight is not a problem. I think
You always got to
the
worry about that weight, though, right?
the big problem is the rehydration clause. I think because listening to Eubank's interview, that did get me a bit worried. He said he spent 2 or 3 days in hospital. I think it was just 3 months, a couple of months, last
You
month.
can't keep going to that well, right?
Yeah, no, it's not just that. It's the fact that he needed all those fluids in his body, and he said the main thing was the rehydration clause because he wasn't allowed to eat. So that's why I'm not gonna be mad if anyone's picking Conor Ben because I thought
Yeah,
doing that once was enough. And it was actually
sure.
surprising how tough that was. I gotta try
Yeah.
and watch that full fight because my stream did cut off towards the middle rounds, but
I think I had that fight 9 rounds to 3. To be honest with you, I had it wider than most people did.
I'm surprised they didn't rob Eubank. I thought that was a fight which
Yeah,
they would probably just give it to Conor Ben because of his future and how young he is. But they
sure.
got the fair decision. But yeah, look. So with Riyadh season, I think the card next month is good. I like that card. Uh,
Oh, I love I like that Haney Brian Norman Jr. fight.
I like that fight. I like the Bam fight as well. Puma Martinez is very good. He's actually beaten Ankahas and I think it was Kosei Tanaka or Kazuto Yayuka. Yeah, Kazuto Yayuka twice. So that's a good card. You got David Benavidez, Anthony Yard. I personally think Yard has just got a puncher's chance. I don't know what you think, but
Yeah, I think David will win
I
that
think
fight.
that fight's being a bit oversold, if I'm being
I don't think
honest.
I hate to say it. I don't want to sound like a hater, but I don't care. I don't think that's a great fight. I think
No,
style wise,
I don't disagree. To me, it's more name recognition. Like to me, Benavidez should be fighting ideally Bivol or Batubiev. That's not his own fault because of what's gone on with Bivol and the situation with like the whole thing. But yeah, if Benavidez wins and you can't fight them, then I think maybe just fight not Jaya Pataya, maybe just fight Zudo. And then down the line, yeah, Jaya Pataya as well if you're going to move up to cruiserweight. But because if
it looks like they may be fighting Zerto next instead of Better Beef. I would rather see him fight Better Beef next, but I don't think I would hate the Zerto fight either.
well, Better Beef's got nothing to offer. He hasn't got any titles, and Bivol is just at the moment sitting on the titles or quote unquote
Yeah.
injured. So, what does
Problem is though,
Benavidez?
if David goes up to 200 pounds, then he's got to go right back down and try to make 175. I don't know.
If he goes up, that's going to be high. He can't knock guys out to light heavyweight. I will say one thing: I do give him a better chance though against Judo than I would give against probably Apataya and probably some of the other guys like Pival and Batubia. Because I think with Zudo, they're both guys who have moved up and he doesn't really need to knock with Zudo out. He could try and outbox him. Like, because we've seen Zudo, you know, fight down to his level or get outboxed decisively, even though it was against Pival, who's, a different kettle of fish to Benavides. But yeah, that's the thing with this fight. I think it's a good fight. Don't get me wrong. I've paid for some of most of Benavides' recent fights, but to me, the other fights on the card I would say are better. I like the Bam fight. Haney Norman is a tough one to me. A lot of people are saying Norman is gonna knock him out. Maybe I'm giving Haney a better chance, but yeah, I could see that going either way. I'm not sure. Like to me, my only question with Norman is a lack of competition, but if Haney is the same fighter that for Ryan Garcia and Ramirez, yeah, I think Haney's gonna get knocked out because to me he looked like a.
I'm picking Brian Norman by stoppage in that fight.
All right, so Norman should win then because most of the people I've seen who seem to know what they're talking about are all picking Norman. My
Yeah.
only question is the competition because Norman really hasn't fought anyone.
Yeah.
How
I mean,
how much of a chance?
I have an old saying. You want to hear it?
Go on.
Everybody fights nobody till they fight somebody.
No, that's true. Yeah, resume
Like
doesn't
that one? You
read.
like that one? You could use it if
No,
you want. You don't even have to.
I've heard you say that. I've heard other people say it before, but that's also true. Resume
You really
doesn't
heard me
mean.
say it, but
Well, Crawford's resume, people were nitpicking, and when he fought Canelo, that didn't
yeah, I
mean
mean,
anything.
you know, it was so bad for Crawford too because if he had Danny Garcia, if he had Keith Thurman,
He knocks them all out, I think.
if he had those guys on his resume, and if he got the Pacquiao fight instead of Pacquiao fighting signing to fight Spence, if
Yeah, yeah.
but
He
but
would he would have he would have stopped them all, and his resume would have been a lot better,
yeah, it would have been a little more beefed up, I think.
a lot better. But I do give Devin Haney credit as well because
Oh, yeah, he's got a good resume. He's fought a lot of top guys.
he's
I
fought
can't
all
complain.
these guys.
I can't complain about him.
Tio didn't want to fight him. He fought Loma. He fought Ryan. He's gonna fight Norman. Like a lot of these American fighters, and that's another thing. I want to get your thoughts on the whole Eddie Hearn and Haney situation. Haney is a free agent, but Eddie's had some things to say. But at the same time, Haney's was one of his few fighters that was actually fighting everyone. Like,
Yeah.
do you think Eddie made a mistake? Not,
Well, that's the thing, man. When you hear about this fighter pay thing, right? And
yeah,
people in MMA don't like if you take the top 1% out, the MMA, the UFC guys are making good money. Just as a lot of these UFC guys on the undercard and the mid card, they're doing better than the boxers. It's just when you take that 1%, you look at that 1%. The 1%'s getting all the money. So the thing with what Haney is, um, he's always going to complain about money. He's a
no,
tough.
but I'm saying, do you think Eddie Hearn should have kept him? Because,
Well,
um,
let me finish saying what I'm saying.
go on.
It was always going to be a problem because they were always going to have issues about money. Devin always complains that like he accused Oscar of not paying of shortchanging him when he fought Ryan, complaining about the pay per view not getting his share of the pay per view. And again, you know how that money just trickles in, right? And then he was complaining like having issues with Eddie about not making the fights not paying him what he wanted to pay him. And then Eddie said, "Well, if you think it's so easy promoting and you think you could do it yourself, then you do it yourself. Then you know what I mean." So they always had that. Haney's always had issues with money. You know what I mean? He
Yeah, yeah.
that's that. So I think
Eddie
no matter
overpaid
who he
Haney and Andrade. Eddie, I don't think made much money back. So maybe you actually make a good point. Maybe Eddie did the right thing because Devin Haney is
the
not
same thing
exactly.
with Shakur. Like Shakur complains that like a lot of these guys they all want Floyd Mayweather money, right? And that's why all these fights are on pay per view because, listen, the promoter's sitting there saying, we're only getting a certain amount of money from the rights fee, right? The broadcaster's only giving us so much money to work with. And you guys we can't make fights because you guys want the star, the star of the sky and the moon. So we got to put this fight on pay per view. So this is the thing where you have a lot of these fights not being made, like Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson. I'm highly skeptical that fight happens still because I just have a feeling both guys are going to price themselves out. Like these guys just want tons of money in order to make these fights, and I
Yeah,
think that's a
no, you're
problem.
right. You're right.
Problem.
That's why fights like Danny Jacobs and Golovkin even on HBO went to pay per view because of the inflated purse demands. Because of
And and
fights like Errol.
I'm supposed to care about fighter pay when what I'm paying? What
I
about my
agree.
pay?
I agree.
What about my pay as a consumer? Let me ask you this: when you go into a restaurant, right? What is your main objective when you go into a restaurant? You sit down and eat a meal.
Get the best product, not product, but get the best value for whatever you're getting. Innit?
Yeah, and you want to get a good meal. You want to
Yeah.
you want to get a good service. Let me ask you this: have you ever got up off your seat, walked in the back in the kitchen, and said, "Can I speak to the manager? I want to know how much you're paying all your staff here." I mean that's not my problem. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's their problem.
Yeah, this is the thing I was gonna get to. I posted it, and you seen what Frank Warren was saying, and
Yeah,
we for years we had fights like Errol Spence, not Danny Gas, yeah, it was Danny Garcia,
uh,
Sean Porter. Some of these fights were all ended up on pay-per-view, and we
sure.
ended
Yeah.
up finding out because of the purse. But now Frank Warren, when he was asked the question, why is this on pay-per-view? How do you think he should have answered that? Because that was not a good answer. A lot of people, a lot of people quoted that saying they didn't. We're gonna do what he said, or they ended up streaming it for free.
There's really no good answer for it,
But that was
but
the worst answer.
that's the worst possible answer. What I probably would have said was, well, we want to try to get these guys the most amount of money we can, and that's why we're going to take a shot at pay per view to see if we can get them. We believe this is going to be a great fight. We believe these two guys have earned it, and we're trying to make sure that these guys have the best opportunity to make the most amount of money possible. Would you
The
have
pro, the problem
would you have accepted that answer as a fan?
that's a reasonable answer. The problem is that was such a good fight, and it ended up being such a good fight. But he had such a bad poor undercard and
You put that
advertisement.
tweet out there. You got like what 80,000 views on that?
Yeah, quite a lot. Like, I'm no longer monetized, but that would have done like very,
Why
very good.
you used to be monetized on
Yeah,
Twitter?
I think they changed. You need, I think, 500 verified
Yeah,
followers.
it's so hard to get monetized.
No, it's hard. It's hard, but I was monetized up until last September. The funny thing is, the only time where I got paid, like once or twice, I ended up paying most of that for the Javante Davis Frank Martin card because that's the only time I paid for a Javante Davis fight. But I liked that fight with Dave Benavidez on the card with Gvozdyk. So I remember, like at that time, I thought, this is not a bad thing. But to me, I don't mind it because then people just do anything for clicks and likes. But going back to Frank Warren, look, the problem I have with how he answered that. Imagine you go to a restaurant and someone says that to you. You're not gonna then pay for that product, didn't you? Or pay for that, you pay for the whatever you want. You're gonna go to another thing, or you're not gonna pay for it, or you're not gonna buy that. Like I would have liked to have seen how Eddie Young would have answered that question.
Listen, I respect all
I like
fighters.
Frank Warren, but
Yeah,
he comes off a bit
I
salty.
respect all fighters, right? And I understand the business and this and that, but I put myself first. I can
Yeah,
show
but
empathy. I can show
we
empathy towards others.
the
I can show
fans drive the sport as well, though, innit? We put
Of
ourselves
course,
first. Without us,
I can show
where is boxing?
empathy. I can show empathy, right? But at the end of the day, I'm going to put myself first as a consumer before I put anyone else. Let them worry about taking care of themselves. It's not my job to take care of them. In other words, they have managers, they have lawyers, they have all these people. It's not my job to worry about that,
Yeah,
right?
the problem is, what would boxing be without fans? Like they try to act like the fans don't have any say. They treat boxing is probably the only sport where they treat the fans like the lowest of the lowest. Like they don't hold the fans to any regard. Now you remove the fans, all they'd be relying on is, I think, pay-per-view sales and guaranteed purses, and a lot of that would come down to then how much are the fans or the networks willing to pay. But my point is, you remove the fans, you don't have a live gate, your pay-per-view numbers get affected. Like I used to get that a lot from, when the matchroom fights were on pay per view on Sky. And I was at AG's fight with Parker. I was at AG's fight with Takam. I was at Josh Taylor and Progray. I don't mind paying for a product if it's worth it, or a fight that's worth it. I've paid since Turkey got into boxing. I've paid for more pay per views than I think I did in the past 10 years, like in the previous generation, up from Mayweather De La Hoya, Mayweather Pacquiao De La Hoya up until Mayweather De La Hoya. I think I only bought two pay-per-views, and those are those two. The rest I would end up streaming or just watch if it's on, like on TV, Sky Sports, whatever, on Box Nation. If it was like Box Nation was actually good, with no pay-per-views on that channel. But I don't have a problem. No. My problem is when you keep putting these mediocre or fights that should be on a regular schedule on pay per view. Like, why do we have to pay for the subscription and then pay on top? Like, what is the point even of the subscription anymore? And this is the same thing Sky Sports are doing, TNT and all these other. But one thing I would say with those uh, channels or subscriptions, whatever, they do offer other things. Like they have the Premier League on there, they have other sports. With the zone, I think there's maybe like they have the Saudi League, and they have like very niche things on there. Like I'm not really paying for that. I'm paying for boxing, and that's all I want to watch. Like really, if you're not gonna give the best fights, at least try and put as much content on there that's part of your regular schedule. Because otherwise, you're asking fans for too much money. Like the Usyk Dubois fight, I had no problem with that being on pay-per-view. I have no problem with the fight next month. Is also them saying one thing, doing another. First, they were saying pay-per-view is dead. Then Turkey 2 months ago said there will be no more pay-per-views. But now, like, I don't even know what the deal is. Like, are they gonna do pay-per-views or they're not gonna do pay-per-views?
Yeah,
Because
they're gonna do pay-per-views.
yeah, because they're gonna add a ring subscription. That's one thing. They're gonna do pay-per-views on top. Dillian White and Derek Chisora is somehow a pay-per-view. So the zone are going heavy in the pay-per-views, but Turkey is also like no different. Like some people think he was gonna only give the best fights for pay-per-view.
Here's,
He's actually
here's
doing the same thing.
let me break something down, and this is kind of my opinion, but it's plausible and somewhat rooted in a little bit of fact. So you got a guy like Turkey Al Sheikh, who's putting up the money, right? He's the main financier of the fight for the public investment fund slash seller from Saudi Arabia. So let's take the Netflix card for instance. So he's putting up the purses, 200 million dollars for the main event alone. Probably another $3 million for the undercard. So that's $203 million right there. So how does he get his money back? So I'm Netflix probably maybe
Live,
30.
live, live gate. I would assume.
The live gate, yeah, the $47 million. So you take that. Then you throw in what did Netflix probably paying rights fees for that fight? Maybe I don't know. Let's just say 30 million, right?
Maybe ads or I don't know. What do you reckon
We're
the
gonna we're gonna
guys?
we're gonna get to that. Let's look at the ads. Let's look at the sponsorship. So let's say he got $150 million back from all those things. He's still in the hole for like 48, 50 million.
Oh, he was always going to be in the hole because he overpaid
So
Canelo. He overpaid Canelo he paid Canelo, I think 150 million. Was it 150 for just the
so
cruiserweight fight
and
or
these
the
promoters, like, and then you got to add in Dana White's promoter. Like Dana White's getting a promoter fee on top of that, right? And Dana White pretty much did that deal with Allegiant Stadium. He was the guy that threw all that together.
I
So
heard
here's the
that.
thing.
You know what? I think Dana White knows or understands the business more than any of these guys. Just
He
listen to
does.
him, and I
Eddie
watch.
Hearns,
No,
Eddie Hearns like saying, "Oh well, he didn't do anything. It was the Turkey Al-Sheikh." No, what do you mean he didn't do
I thought
anything?
I thought
He
I
he.
thought he roasted Eddie Hearn because he even said Eddie Hearn has not really. And if you take AJ away, was Eddie Hearn actually done? That's taking it to the next level. Like, and I thought that was a good point. I also think Dana White
Why is
understands
that what Dana White said?
in the no, he didn't mention AJ, but he said Eddie Hearn's been around for so long, and what has he even done like to take it to the next level? Because Eddie Hearn was saying Dana White's not going to do anything, but that was in the interview with Steve Kim. Because my
Yeah,
battery's
I
quite
saw
low.
that.
I got to go in like about 2 or 3 minutes, but
Yeah, I gotta
this is
go
what
too.
I was gonna say. Dana White
Wrap it up.
understands the fans. I did watch the UFC card, some of the fights, the main event. He knows how to market to the fans. He knows how to get the best out of his product. He knows what to put on pay per view and what not to put on pay per view, even though there's more pay per views in UFC. But I think there's more of a
No, there's
demand.
not more pay per views overall in percentage wise. Like still
But there's more of
75.
a there's more of a demand. At least you got the fight. So the fight
Yeah,
is they
but
all fighting.
75% of the content that they show is not on pay per view. It's only like they only do like one pay per view a month, but they're doing like two or three other shows that aren't on pay per view during the month.
I watch both sports, and if I'm being honest, if I was a hardcore UFC fan, I'd be more happy with UFC than
Of
with boxing.
course,
Like
of course, it's
I
a
don't.
better model for the fans. Like I'm not a huge MMA fan. That's the problem, but I like the UFC model. It's better for the
UFC.
fans.
I agree with you. UFC is what boxing used to be, basically, to a a smaller. like a bit more niche because it's only one like entity, whatever. But like there's less belts, there's less divisions. He's tried to put everything on one, I believe, network. Like that's ESPN Plus or ESPN Plus pay per view. Like everything is under one umbrella. I like the way he's able to do this all on his own. Like that's the
Sure.
problem. Like people keep saying they don't want one guy, one thing. What do you want? The more networks you have, in boxing, the problem is at the moment. Look, the zone have majority of the main promoters, and we still are having a lot of these problems. Like so, I don't know. I think the problem in boxing is there's too many promoters. There's too
That's
many
pretty.
too many managers, promoters, the whole thing. Like so, if I'm honest, I think it'd be better if Dana White and Turkey could take this over and do the main thing because I don't know. I really don't know what like the PBC, Eddie Hearn, and guys like Oscar are able to do in the long term because what they are trying to do is just looking at it from a selfish point of view.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Well,
I'm
what were
gonna.
you gonna say though? But you were gonna say something.
Um. Oh yeah. So yeah, Dana White was the guy that did that deal with Allegiant Stadium, and there's not you like he's got all the connections, right? And he's got ties with Dubai. He's got ties with Saudi Arabia. And I hate to say this because I don't like to get political, but Donald Trump and his family, they own a lot of property in Saudi Arabia. They do a lot of business in Saudi Arabia, and he's got a lot of connections in the Middle East, and that helps out. Dana White. Like Dana White was talking about how he was just on the phone with the president, and while the president was in just getting off of a plane in Abu Dhabi. So I think that relationship with Trump does help Dana White.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
does help
No,
Dana
no,
White.
that's a
There's
good
no
point.
there's no there's no doubt about it.
That's a good point. I gotta go. The problem I have
Yeah,
is
I'm gonna
my
go
phone.
too.
My phone's on like 2%. This is the
Yeah,
problem I have. I don't agree with Donald Trump or whatever their political views, but
that's fine.
what Dana White is doing in boxing that shouldn't be conflicted with his political views. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Same with Steve Kim. I think Steve Kim is great in boxing, but I don't agree with a lot of his political views. But what he says about boxing, his views on the whole concept of the business,
yeah,
I don't think there's many other journalists who actually call it how it is, like Steve Kim does. So like
yeah,
that's the problem I have with a lot of these guys going after Dana White, the whole Muhammad Ali act.
yeah. It's all
Why
political.
why why wasn't this a problem when Al Heyman was doing the same thing? Like to me, these guys. I think the way you guys have been putting it, calling them activists, like they all try to get all political when it suits them, but when it's on the shoes on the other foot, it doesn't seem to be a problem. So
Yeah, it's all tribal. It's all tribal. It's all
tribal,
factions.
I think, is all political. Like they don't like the president, or they don't like Dana White or his political views, so they're trying to get them. But yeah, I think there's enough problems in boxing, and I don't see the issue. If they could get it right, I think this could be good for the long term future. But we'll see how it plays out. I gotta jump off though. It's
All
good,
right, man. I'll
good
catch up
talking
with
to
you,
you.
man.
I'll try
I'll
and
talk to
catch
you
you
in a minute.
soon. All right,
All right,
all
take
right.
care,
Take
man.
it, take it.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. And make sure you check us out later today, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the Ringside Reporter podcast. We will be on with myself and Eric Lauder. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye.